I'm Jasmine Moradi, and you're listening to the Queens of Tech podcast, a podcast series about raising the voice of workplace champions. 60 plus questions in around 30 to 40 minutes with women, women of color, non-binary, and transgender influencers about their journey into STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I started the Queens of Tech podcast initiative in May 2022 because I would like to retain more women, women of color, non-binary, and transgenders in the tech industry. Talent is out there, but our work environment needs to improve for all to feel safer, stay authentic, and to be valued for our contributions. My vision is to raise the workplace ecosystem for all in tech by killing the imposter syndrome, stopping bad behavior, and increasing equity opportunities. Each podcast talk is built around 60 plus questions regarding upbringing, education, career path, DIB, and future advice. My mission is to bridge the gap between schools and workplaces by getting into the heart of my guest's personal life and career journey to inspire other girls, women, women of color, non-binary, and transgenders to unleash their full potential to reach top leadership roles in the tech industry. My goal is to raise the voices of tech champions around the world and together with companies, investors, and politicians, raise the challenges and opportunities around equity, inclusive, diversity, and belonging in our workplaces. Enough is enough. I would like to enforce companies to build a sustainable, inclusive culture to retain diverse talent so we keep the workforce power equity to continue building future diverse and inclusive products. Representation matters. Your voice matters. In this episode, I'm very excited to welcome my guest, Tech Queen Jeannette Gorzala, attorney at law and business enabler, speaker on AI, and VP of the European AI Forum. Hi, Jeannette.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, I'm very happy to have you joining us from Austria. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
I'm glad to hear. Now, let us dive into your journey into STEM. Hope you're ready for the Queens of Tech 60 plus question.
Ready and excited.
Let's start out with a few fun facts about you. How would you describe your personality in 3 hashtags?
Curious mind, creative soul, eternal optimist.
How would you describe your life in 3 sentences or hashtags?
My life is a journey of exploration filled with unexpected twists and turns, but always guided by curiosity, passion, and a relentless pursuit of growth.
What kind of music stimulates and motivates you the most?
Uplifting, energetic music, electronic dance music, and pop.
What's your personal motto?
Embrace the journey, trust the process.
What is your favorite book?
I actually currently don't have a favorite book. It changes every week.
What is your favorite podcast?
Same as for the book, and I actually don't listen to a podcast regularly, but only tune in for special issues or special guests.
Mac or PC?
PC all the way.
Say something interesting about you that most people don't know.
I'm a passionate diver, particularly enjoying shark diving.
What is your hidden talent?
I don't know, it's probably still hidden.
If you were going to write a book about your life, what would the title be?
Unscripted Journeys, Embracing the Unknown.
Great start, Jeannette. Let us now dig deeper. Our childhood has an effect on our adulthood. Our early experiences shape our belief about ourselves, others, and the world. Now, I want to discover your childhood. Where did you grow up?
In Austria and South Africa.
What was your dream job as a child?
I always wanted to be an artist, but the handwriting and my skills were not sufficient.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Geography. I always wanted to conquer the world.
What was your least favorite subject?
It might surprise you, it's sports.
What is your earliest memory of technology and the arrival of the internet?
Earliest memory of technology, the small educational computer my parents bought me, and arrival of the internet was fabulous.
Which were the three first technology gadgets you owned?
Educational computer, Game Boy, and Tamagotchi.
Who was your female role model growing up and why?
I didn't have one role model, but I'm inspired actually by all the fabulous female leaders we see in the positions changing the world.
How do you think where you grew up and the school you went to and the generation you come from influenced your education and career choice?
Actually, I think very much. Growing up partly in South Africa, partly in Vienna, instilled in me a deep appreciation for nature, community on the one side, but also for the amenities of city life. When I think about the schools I went to, I think they gave me the foundation of knowledge and critical thinking skills that I think are in particular needed in the world of Gen AI we're living in. And being actually a part of a generation that has experienced this rapid technological advancement. So my first mobile phone was like 20 centimeters big. Now we have smartphones, we have AI. And this actually is driving my passion for a career in the tech world and contributing to shaping this innovative future.
Very interesting. So let's get into your career, how you got where you are today. I'm going to read two quotes. First one, how does the universe expect me to choose a career path at 16? I can't even choose what I want for dinner. Second, Abraham Lincoln said, I quote, the best way to predict your future is to create it. Here's on it. I don't know the choices behind your career path. Where and what did you study at university?
I have a degree in law from the University of Vienna and also a degree in international business administration from the Vienna University of Economics and Business Administration, and had the possibility to go for study visits and research visits in the US and Sweden.
Who and what influenced you to get into your chosen field?
I would say it's a mix of coincidence and passion. So deep passion for clarity, structures, tech and innovation. And then you just meet all the fabulous people around the way, be part of an ecosystem, and one puzzle piece comes to another and actually shapes your path.
What professional roles have you had before that led you to the current one?
I started my career out in investment banking for major banks. For example, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, Rothschild. Then I transitioned to the legal path, did the classical career as an associate and attorney at law at EY, was there in business law and corporate law, and also built up the digital law practice. Actually, those are the two main building blocks of my professional career roles with a focus on tech. And so that's why I feel I blend in or am the API between tech business and the law.
And what does your law company do and offer? And what does the European Forum AI do?
In my legal firm, we support clients in the technology space in all questions of business law and regulatory. So currently, we're in particular helping companies build AI literacy in their organizations in order to boost AI adoption. We help them prepare for the Artificial Intelligence Act. We help them design trustworthy AI business models and implement AI systems. And we go with them all along the way. So from the foundation of the company, throughout the design of their corporate governance, drafting of contracts, financing rounds, up to the exit, we're their partner for the entire business journey. And the European AI Forum, I'm deeply honored, and it's a great pleasure to be the vice president of the European AI Forum, because our aim is to give the European AI entrepreneurs a voice in policymaking. The forum is the umbrella association of 9 national AI associations in Europe. So we have there Austria, Germany, the Netherlands, France, Slovenia, Bulgaria, Lithuania, our colleagues in Poland also. So you see, we're spanning across all Europe. So it's hard to kind of like bring it all together. And in total, we represent more than 2,000 AI entrepreneurs. And there, my role was in the past 3 to 5 years, shaping policymaking, shaping AI governance, and in particular, giving those entrepreneurs a voice in the making of the Artificial Intelligence Act and trying to make suggestions and achieve a good balance between regulation and innovation.
And what was the reason behind starting your own firm instead of joining another AI firm?
I wanted to do things differently, a different approach to law, a different approach to advising clients, and also kind of like debunking a few myths that lawyers kind of like are not able to explain complex matters in a simple way and are also sometimes considered a hindrance to project. So we want to be kind of like the lawyer you love to call at the beginning of the project to save you a lot of trouble and to explain very clearly what the options are.
And what does a typical workday or work week look like for you?
For me, actually, every day is different. So the only thing that unites all my days is breakfast in the morning and having a Red Bull throughout the day.
I love the quote, choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Jeannette, what do you love about your role?
I really, really enjoy working with all these passionate individuals, and that inspires me very much to be part of companies building all these exciting products and services, thinking processes new, and really gives me a lot of energy and purpose.
And what is the best experience you've had in your current role so far? Any examples?
Working with a startup, I actually helped them found the company. They're in the cybersecurity forensics analytical space. I helped them found the company in 2020. We went all along the way, and they are now one of the major industry players. They're expanding globally. They have a huge track record in Europe. And for me, client success is actually the best you can have. There is nothing that makes you more grateful and happier.
Amazing. And what is the biggest challenge you've encountered so far and how did you tackle that?
One of the challenges I've actually incurred, or one of the toughest ones so far, is bringing together different points of view, different focus areas. It was actually in the European AI Forum when we tried to bring together kind of like our position, which measures will support the AI ecosystem on the Artificial Intelligence Act, because different countries have different focus areas, different approaches, different preferences. And it was a very challenging environment because you have shifting requirements, you sometimes have tight deadlines. And so it was very, very key to focus on effective communication, collaborating with the team members, prioritizing tasks by impact, and also staying adaptable, maintaining an open and solution-oriented mindset. We did a good job at that and successfully gave those entrepreneurs a voice in the policymaking process. But at the beginning, finding a common denominator was quite challenging.
And you did mention earlier that there is a common perception and myth about lawyers. So what do you wish everybody understood about your role?
I wish everyone understood that being a lawyer is not just reusing templates, copy pasting, and trying to make things more complicated and difficult, because actually it involves a lot of creativity, a lot of problem solving, and actually a lot of collaborative approaches and continuous learning. And actually, law and working with the law is actually requires a lot of innovative thinking to make a positive impact on the project, on our clients' lives. And it goes far beyond just exchanging the name on a template, which I think many people think is our only task.
And then what is the one common myth about the law professional field that you want to disapprove beyond that?
Probably that we talk a lot and say very little thereby, and that we make things unnecessarily complicated.
And I know you love law, so what is it that you love about working in the tech industry with law?
I think it's the endless potential, because tech gives us so many opportunities to create meaningful change. We are seeing it in the markets right now that AI in particular has the power to transform industries, solve complex problems, improve people's lives on the global scale. And being part of this journey is really incredibly exciting and rewarding for me. Even though I'm not kind of like guiding this change from a technical perspective, I'm walking along the side, helping to establish the governance and the processes, which is really, really a great pleasure to do.
Oprah Winfrey said, I quote, think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failure is not a stepping stone to greatness. So Jeannette, what has by far been your biggest achievement in your career?
I would say the biggest achievement we had together is the European AI Forum by making a tangible impact on how the AI Act considers risks on the one side, but also promotes innovation and gives a flexible framework that also accounts for, in particular, startups and young entrepreneurs. I think that was one of our greatest successes, and also something that is more recent. For example, in Austria, there was appointed an AI advisory board to the government, and I have the great honor to serve as the deputy chairperson there. And this I consider also a huge achievement, to have the possibility to shape the AI ecosystem in Austria for the good and contribute to Austria becoming an even greater place for AI.
What would you say is the biggest factors help you become this successful? Any success habits?
Not really success habits. I think commitment and continuous improvement are essential to growth. And showing up is already then more than 50% of the task achievements, because if you do not show up, you're missing out on all the opportunities.
And how do you measure your performance at work?
By setting specific goals and tracking the progress. One important thing I would like to underline is that we should measure progress by comparing our current selves to past versions, to track feedback, to track goal achievement. What I don't think is what we should be doing is looking at others and spreading envy and resentment. I think we should be actually very happy for our peers and cheer their achievements.
With success comes failures. What is your biggest failure in your career? And what did you learn from that?
I think one of my biggest failures was underestimating the importance of effective communication that can lead to misunderstandings and delays. And from one project in particular, I saw that this is very, very important to get everybody aligned and also sort out expectations. So clear expectation management, clear communication of kind of like what is expected, what can be achieved, and what just simply cannot be achieved. I think this is very, very critical.
What is inspiring and motivating you the most in your role and career right now?
The possibilities that we have, because I think currently we're experiencing a pivotal moment where a lot of things are going to change rapidly. And we currently have the possibility to actually shape our futures, because now it's still possible. Now we can still set the direction. And this excites me most, to be part actually of this process.
Let us now jump into the influence on mentors, role models, champions, and sponsors. Role models can consciously or subconsciously be a powerful force in our life. In addition, champions can stand up and advocate for us and open up the world of possibilities. Sponsors match emerging talent with leaders and influential employees who can help us move ahead in our careers. Jeannette, do you have a mentor, champion, or a sponsor today?
I don't have a champion, mentor, or designated sponsor today, simply because I think it just never happened. Probably the time was never right, or I never had the kind of like coincidence. But I have many supporting peers, and I'm fortunate to be part of a really, really great ecosystem. And also there, I would say you can gain a lot of support, a lot of sparring partners that guide and help you along the way.
Who would you say is the female, non-binary, or transgender role model you look up to in your field, in law?
Actually, all amazing women that are climbing the career ladder, shaping the legal industry. I wouldn't actually single out one, because I think it's important that we have more female leaders in male-dominated industries, for example, in the tech world, but also, for example, in certain aspects of the legal field. So I'm really happy for every one of them, and I think I can learn something from every successful female leader in the industry.
And history shows that it has been more common for men having mentors, champions, and sponsors in business than women, and they help each other climb up. So how important do you think is to have a mentor, champion, and sponsor during one's career?
I think it is important, and of course can be a severe source of motivation, and also help achieve things quicker and faster and learn from the advice and mistakes of others. We all are sometimes in doubt or need encouragement and support. And here, of course, role models and sponsors can play a vital role in building up great personalities, opening doors, making things easier. However, to those that do not have a role model, champion, or sponsor, I would say that intrinsic motivation must not be overlooked as a powerful tool, because we are more powerful than we think on our own and can achieve more than we actually believe.
Let us now move on to leadership. Adina Friedman, President and CEO of Nasdaq, said, I quote, "Empowering those around you to be heard and valued makes a difference between a leader who simply instructs and one who inspires." And Charlie Sandberg, ex-COO of Facebook, said, I quote, leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that the impact lasts in your absence. Jeannette, what does leadership mean to you?
Leadership means to me inspiring and empowering others to achieve their full potential, to foster a culture of collaboration, innovation, and inclusivity, and also to lead by example with integrity, authenticity, and empathy.
What do you consider a good versus a bad leader?
A good leader empowers and uplifts others, listens actively, and leads with integrity and humility, and thereby fosters this culture of trust and innovation. On the other hand, I think a bad leader may not exhibit these qualities and also kind of like may actually exhibit negative qualities like lack of empathy, failure to inspire, failure to support the team.
And who is your favorite female, non-binary, or transgender tech leader and why?
I don't have one specific.
And how would you describe yourself as a leader?
I try to lead with empathy, authenticity, and inclusivity. I believe in empowering my team and fostering this culture I described previously of collaboration, trust, and to lead by example, but also kind of like always to have an open ear for concerns, problems, and feedback.
And as a leader, what values are most important to you?
Integrity, accountability, commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Or what leadership lessons have you learned that have formed you into the leader you are today?
Some leadership lessons that I've learned that shaped me into the leader I am today include the importance of active listening, adaptability, resilience in the face of challenge, and value of mentorship, also with peers, and collaboration. I think the power of leading with authenticity and empathy is very important as an inspirational source to have a positive impact.
What are your 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses?
Clear communication, strategic thinking, and the ability to inspire and motivate others, I would count on my strength side. Weaknesses I'm actively working on improving currently is patience and work-life balance.
Let us now jump into the hottest topic in business today, workplace culture, unlocking the power of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Jeannette, what does diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging mean to you personally?
I think those are essential principles that shape not only our organizational cultures, but also personal values. So I think it's really important to have a wide range of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives that individuals bring to the table. We've seen this, for example, with AI and the AI Act. The more different perspectives we included from law, but also from the tech side, from social sciences, from history, from human studies, and so on and so forth. All these perspectives made our picture actually richer and fuller, and enabled us to, in more detail, grasp what is going on, what the feelings are, what the challenges are, and also what the risks are.
What do you consider being 3 to 5 signs of good company culture if you were to join a company ever in the future?
Transparent communication, commitment to employee well-being, demonstrated also through initiatives. So kind of like not only the mantra or only words, but also follow through. And a strong emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion, also beyond policies and putting this into practice and underlined by leadership action.
And as a woman, what has been the most significant political or cultural barrier in your career, and how have you overcome these challenges?
Sometimes I've seen, of course, gender bias, stereotypes, in particular in male-dominated industries. I think we encounter those very, very often. Key to overcoming those challenges for me in the past were resilience, advocating for myself, and also seeking out sparring partners to discuss, maybe to gain additional perspectives, to gain recommendations, and focusing on my skills and on my achievements and further development rather than the stereotypes.
Why do you think it is important for more women, women of color, non-binary, and transgender to join the tech industry today, especially AI?
It's vital that we have more diversity in every direction. So women, non-binary, transgender individuals, whatever. I think diversity is really key to bring together diverse perspectives, diverse experiences, which also helps us to address biases, conscious or subconscious. We see this in particular with the data aspect, where AI, for example, fails when the data is not kind of like appropriate to the use case, does not include sufficient diversity in the examples. So I think here AI and inclusivity are really going hand in hand, and it's very key to look at that aspect and to drive this.
Do you and how do you speak with your colleague, peers, and community about the DIB challenges? For example, salary gaps, promotions, the challenges with AI, and so on.
It's important to have an open and honest conversation. And to have these open and honest conversations, we need to create safe spaces for dialogue and sharing experiences. Because what I have experienced is that people are often hesitating to share challenges or stories. So these spaces, I think, are important to have open conversations on salary gaps, promotions, unconscious bias, to barriers for advancement. And exchange is really key, I think, because no one is alone with these topics. And then, of course, raising awareness also and advocating for equitable practices, because only if we work together, and together, I mean everyone, from woman to non-binary, transgender, and of course our male allies. I think we need to work together to address these challenges and drive positive change.
There are many public and internal discussions about the barriers women of color, non-binary, and transgenders face from reaching high position in the tech industry and receiving funding. How do you feel is affecting you, and what is your advice on how to best unblock these roadblocks?
My advice is to stay resilient and to seek out the support of your networks, your peers, your sparring partners, your mentors, and advocate for yourself. Because unblocking these roadblocks includes many, many aspects. First and foremost, fostering inclusive cultures, implementing equitable policies and practices, providing mentorship and sponsorship opportunities for underrepresented groups, and challenging these gender biases and stereotypes that still are there.
Also, today, tech companies spend a lot of marketing money to attract women of color, non-binary, and transgenders. However, at the same time, they're finding it hard to retain them. Articles show that women are leaving the tech industry. What is your best advice or strategies for how companies can work to build a stronger corporate culture that engages DIB?
We need a holistic approach. So, prioritizing diversity, equity, inclusion in all aspects of the organization, starting from recruitment and hiring to leadership development and decision making processes. We need to create awareness and provide training and education on these unconscious biases. Because for me, I did one of those tests, and we all have unconscious bias that we're not even aware of. And this is a huge hindrance because none of us kind of like are exempt to those failures. Create mentorship and sponsorships, especially designed to foster diversity. And most important, not only have the policies, but really put them into practice and let action follow the promises.
That is great advice. But what would you say are the few factors or challenges of implementing a DIB culture in a workplace and in tech industry today?
Challenges could be, for example, that of course you might have some workplaces that are resistant to change. Sometimes it's lack of awareness or even lack of understanding of the issues of unconscious bias, of systemic barriers that might be embedded within organizational structures and processes. Additionally, there might be other challenges like fostering this honest and open dialogue about sensitive topics, because it's hard to address this, for example, in public, and you need to find the right corridor of communication to really open up and sometimes point out deficiencies. Sometimes I've also seen that policies are seen merely as checkboxes, but not as integral components of organizational culture and strategy. And I think to really turn this topic around, we need to work on all these aspects and several more to really drive change. But I want to emphasize again, action is really key and a holistic approach. Otherwise, I think we will keep failing in really driving diversity.
Why and how do you think companies would benefit from having not just women, women of color, non-binary, and transgender leaders, but actually higher gender representation at C-suite level and boardrooms with actual mandate and voices?
The great benefit would, of course, be having this diverse perspective, having an advocate in power. So, someone that actually has decision making power and can change things. Because I don't think it helps if you have kind of like a representative just for the optics that will not change anything and also is not credible for the organizations and also might be a problem to attract female talent. But to really install someone that can drive change top down.
What would you say is the biggest reason behind that we don't have more women, women of color, non-binary, and transgender leaders in the leadership roles and as startup founders still today?
I think we are still trying and we still need to make up for the time where this topic was not present on the agenda as much as it actually should have been. I think this is one very important point. And of course, the tech industry and other industries are still also presented, also perceived as male dominated industries. And this might maybe also scare young females that want to pursue a career in tech. So here, I really think we also need to break these stereotypes, maybe also move away from calling them male-dominated industries and to be more inclusive right from the beginning and actually stop labeling industries, but just kind of like let people choose the careers they want to pursue to follow their passions, irrespective of the industry.
And also, I would love to hear your perspective that the data reveals a concerning trend of low funding rates for startups led by women, with only 1 to 2% of the funding directed towards women in the tech industry. Black and Latino women, in particular, receive less than 1%. What factors do you believe contribute to this imbalance, and what strategies can be activated to increase funding for women-led startups?
I will start at the end. For the strategies, kind of like to promote funding of more female or female-led or mixed teams. And here we're actually seeing very good initiatives in funds in Austria, in particular also a female-founded and female-led fund that is investing in teams that have at least the minimum is one female in the board, the more the better, but really making this a criteria for investment decisions is key, I think, to changing the trajectory here. Why do we have female startups or why are female startups underfunded or lesser funded? I think a lot has to do with unconscious bias. A lot also has to do with, of course, we look at things and kind of like favor things that are similar to us. And that brings us back to venture capital firms are usually and traditionally also more male dominated. So there actually might be some issues there that, of course, male founders are more favored than female founders. Again, also the ingredients of stereotypes and so on and so forth.
How much do you think the tech industry has changed regarding the IB since you joined?
I think the tech industry has changed a lot because we're seeing many young female founders in the space founding great companies, having great impact. And also the number of female leaders is increasing, not as fast as we would want it to increase, but still there is change. And most important, there is awareness for this topic.
Looking back on your career, what one thing would you have changed in your working environment to break the bias?
One thing I would have changed is speaking up earlier and also speaking up more often and also advocating for myself and for other females to really push this topic.
And looking forward, what will you do as a leader leading the AI to improve the bias for the next generation for women, women of color, non-binary, and transgenders in tech?
Having the topic of diversity as a priority on the agenda because it's key to AI, because AI and data go hand in hand. And we need to really have a clear view of our data sets, of the use cases, and make sure that this is also appropriately adjusted for the matters of diversity to be aware of bias and also to introduce bias mitigation measures and to really try to eliminate bias as far as possible. And if we can eliminate it, raise awareness about it and install the human controls in order to tackle this topic effectively.
Thank you very much for being the voice in law and AI for that. It's super important.
Thank you so much.
Let us now move on to another hot topic in business today, which is work-life balance and mental health. You have, without a doubt, a busy lifestyle. You do travel a lot. How do you take care of yourself to maintain good mental health?
To effectively manage time, because I think time is the scarce resource of our time. And effective time management helps me to accomplish a lot, to accomplish time, to accomplish things efficiently and effectively, and also to plan in those breaks that are needed, of course, to recharge the batteries. And these breaks need to be also planned into the agenda and being taken care of and not forgotten in time management and management of calendars.
Have you ever experienced burnout?
Not yet.
What is your advice on how companies can create a more mentally healthy workplace in the new now?
One thing that is key is promote this balance. So promote, of course, work ethic, promote dedication, but also as a counterbalance there to promote the appropriate taking breaks, effectively managing time, and stepping away from the work culture where you need to sit in an office 10 hours, even if there is, for example, nothing to do. So also to effectively manage resources and allocate resources and acknowledge if there's downtime and maybe to take these periods of downtime to build energy. And this energy will surely be needed again in periods where there is possibly too much to do.
What would you say motivates you every day to get out of bed?
Pure excitement what the day will bring.
Now, let us wrap up with a few words of wisdom and a piece of advice for our listeners. Jeannette, what is the best piece of advice that you've been given that has helped you during your setbacks in your role and career?
Get up again and try again and keep trying until you have achieved your goal.
And then what is the worst advice you've ever been given and how did you tackle that?
To wait and things will sort themselves out. Honestly, nothing is going to sort itself out by magical hand. So waiting and just being an observer has been the worst advice I've ever given. I would advocate totally for the different approach, being proactive, being active, and trying to influence and make an impact on the journey, the difficulties, the challenges, the questions, the unsolved problems, the injustice, whatever you're currently tackling, because waiting and sitting around is actually, I think, going to make things worse, not better.
And is there something you wish you would have known or a skill you wish you had when starting out in the tech industry?
I think learning programming would have probably been a very, very handy skill looking back. It's never too late, but I'm very much using the low code and no code solutions that help me a lot. So also here for us non-code literacy people, the tech industry has a lot of great solutions that can solve a lot of problems. But definitely I'm trying to learn coding, but it's just a hobby. It's far too unprofessional to be of any use yet.
If you had the ability to go back in time to when you were just at the beginning of your career, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Move forward, and if things don't fit, do not be afraid to change them.
And what advice would you give to young girls, women of color, non-binary, and transgenders who want and trying to break into STEM today, especially want to become next generation leaders?
Do not let anyone or anything hold you back. If you think or if you're passionate about this path and this field of career, just pursue it and make your way.
Last but not least, Jeannette, what is next for you in your role and career in tech? What are your career aspirations?
That's actually a very difficult one. My career aspirations, or at least midterm goals, are demystifying the AI Act because it's become a lofty 450 pages. So deliver clarity, bring AI governance to all organizations, bring AI literacy to all organizations to thereby empower responsible use of tech. Because I really believe we have many good ideas. AI is a powerful technology that can help us solve so many challenges. And it would really be nice to see that we have more responsible AI adoption. And it is my passion to drive that by those two instruments, breaking down the regulatory riddles and bringing AI literacy to companies, but to everyone that is interested, and thereby having a positive impact in the field.
Amazing. I can see that coming true. I even saw you being in the EU Parliament, standing there and exactly saying those sentences. Thank you very much, Jeannette, for being a guest on the Queens of Tech podcast, sharing your journey will without a doubt inspire change and reshape company culture for the next generation of women, women of color, non-binary and transgender leaders in tech.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be with you on the podcast, and I'm happy to come again. This was so inspiring, and I'm really excited about the outcome.
Thank you for listening. If you have worked in the tech industry minimum 3 years and would like to share your journey, please nominate yourself or somebody you know to I@jasminemoradi.com. For more podcast episodes and to learn more about the Queens of Tech initiative and to support us, visit queensof.tech.